After my family froze my trust fund, I ended up bussing tables at a hotel. That's where I ran into my childhood nemesis. She crossed one elegant leg over the other, a sly smile playing on her lips. Give my foot a little kiss. I'll Venmo you 50 grand. Staring at the impossibly gorgeous woman in front of me, I had to stop and think. Was this for real? I guess my dad decided I was coasting a little too much. All it took was a few whispers in his ear from his sycophants, and just like that, I was cut off. The goal was to force me to crawl back to his company and take a desk job like a good little boy. A desk job? Not a chance. Not in this lifetime. But reality hit me fast. Money can't buy happiness, but you sure as hell can't do anything without it. Hey Sal, you got any work for me? I had no choice but to hit up a contractor I knew from some previous gig work. Sal looked me up and down, confused. You don't look like a guy who's broke, kid. What are you doing chasing these day labor gigs? I let out a heavy sigh. Hey, dad with a gambling problem, a mom with medical bills, a sister in college, a broken home. You wouldn't get it. Sal, looking profoundly impressed by my tragic backstory, set me up with a busboy job at a high-end hotel downtown. The work wasn't hard, but it was brutal on my feet. Thank God for all those hours at the gym. Was this my destiny all along, I wondered? Did I spend all that time building my physique just so I could clear tables more efficiently? I pushed open the door to a small private dining room, ready to set the table. Then I saw her and I froze. Chloe Lynch, my rival since we were in diapers, sitting there all by herself. She was my mom's best friend's much younger sister. Technically, that made her sort of an aunt by proxy, a fact she never let me forget. Our families were always intertwined, and she'd spent our entire childhood ordering me around. She spotted me in the doorway. A flicker of genuine surprise crossed her face before it melted into a knowing, dangerous smile. I knew that smile all too well. Whenever she looked at me like that as a kid, it meant she was about to ruin my day. Well, if it isn't Ethan Vance, the boy prince, down from her ivory tower to see how the other half lives. I ignored her, placing the dishes on the table and turning to leave. A single stiletto-clad foot blocked my path. She scanned me from head to toe. The hotel's uniform was a size too small, clinging to my frame. Compared to my shabby state, Chloe was radiant. She had always been a cool, reserved beauty. She was a few years older than me, but you'd never know it. Her face was flawless, framed by a cascade of dark, wavy hair. She wore a stunning red dress that draped over her like liquid silk. Her expression was lazy, touched with that hint of a smile. What's this? Giving me the silent treatment now. Pretending you don't know me? I lifted my head and met her gaze. For a second, her beauty stunned me, and I had to quickly summon memories of her childhood tyrannies to steel myself. I forced a smile. Of course not, Chloe. I just saw you were dining alone and didn't want to interrupt your solitude. I made sure to emphasize the words alone and solitude. Chloe was pushing 30 and still single. It wasn't for a lack of suitors. She just shot them all down. It was the one and only thing I could ever use against her. The one area where she wasn't a certified genius/supermodel. She didn't take the bait. Instead, she asked, her head cocked with genuine curiosity. What are you doing working here? I scoffed. Just looking out for you, of course. Lots of successful guys in a place like this. Thought I might spot a suitable bachelor for you. A look of dawning comprehension spread across her face. You got in trouble, didn't you? Did Dad cut you off? My silence was all the confirmation she needed. That infuriating, playful smile returned. That desperate for cash. She leaned forward slightly. The dress had a low neckline, revealing the elegant line of her collarbone and the subtle hint of a perfect curve. I looked away, feigning indifference. My reaction only made her smile wider. She lifted her foot, her silver high heel dangling precariously from her toes, revealing the smooth arch of her foot. Here, she purred, her eyes glinting with mischief. Get a little kiss. I'll Venmo you 50 grand. She was clearly just messing with me, trying to get a rise. But I paused, a serious thought crossing my mind. Get paid and humiliate her by actually doing it. This was a win-win. As kids, my only defense against her bullying was verbal sparring. She was probably holding on to some ancient grudge, thinking this was the ultimate way to get back at me. Clearly, she had no idea how a guy's mind works. Not a boy's, and definitely not a grown man's. A slow smile spread across my face. Seeing me smile threw her off. My reaction wasn't what she'd scripted in her head. She was probably expecting me to storm off in a huff like I used to. I took a step closer. You sure about that? My advance clearly rattled her. She instinctively shrank back, a faint blush coloring her cheeks. What are you doing? She turned her head away, her earlier confidence gone. She was so flustered she was stuttering. Seeing her like this, I knew for sure she was just bluffing. So I decided to call it. Just so we're clear, I said, my voice low. You're the one backing out, not me. But that 50 grand is non-negotiable. You got my Venmo. With that, I turned on my heel and walked away, leaving Chloe staring after me, completely dumbfounded. I worked until 10 that night and never saw her leave. It wasn't until my shift ended that I saw her finally get up to pay the bill. Ethan, I looked up. Standing by the hotel entrance was Kevin Chow, a guy from my college days. After graduation, he couldn't find a job, so I pulled some strings to get him a position at my dad's company. He knew my family was well off, but not the full extent of it. He had mediocre skills, but was a world-class schmoozer, which had served him well. We hadn't talked much since I quit. I wasn't surprised to see him. Kevin, small world. He let out a derisive snort. Ethan Vance, is that really you? What happened, man? You're working as a server. I was still in my slightly too tight uniform. I remember you throwing money around like crazy in college, he went on, his voice dripping with condescension. And then you just up and quit that amazing job after graduation. I thought your family had something even better lined up for you. Turns out you're bussing tables. He chuckled. I was so worried when we were both up for that promotion. I thought with your connections, I was toast. Now I think, if you hadn't left, I probably wouldn't have gotten it. Looks like you're not all that, after all. He patted my shoulder with theatrical pity. All I did was ask you for a little help getting a job, and you acted like my boss, dumping all the grunt work on me. I guess karma's a bitch. Never thought I'd see the day you'd be waiting on people. Back then, he'd been so broke he was borrowing money from me for lunch. I'd helped him out of pity, and this was his takeaway. The guy's insecurity was a black hole. I ignored him and walked over to a rack of Lime bikes. Damn, that desperate. Not even a cheap car, you're on a rental bike. He continued to mock me from behind. Just then, Chloe emerged from the hotel. Kevin's focus immediately shifted. He practically sprinted over to her. Ms. Lynch, did you have anything to drink? Can I offer you a ride? I'd be happy to drive your car for you. I had to suppress a laugh. Chloe was currently an interim VP in my dad's company. Of course, a brown-noser like Kevin would be trying to score points with her. Chloe's brow furrowed in annoyance. This clearly wasn't the first time he'd been this obsequious, and she hated having her personal time invaded. But her manners were too good to be rude. She just shook her head. Kevin persisted, laying the charm on thick. Chloe's frown deepened. Her eyes scanned the area and landed on me, unlocking the Lime bike with my phone. She strode right over and tossed her keys at me. Drive me home. The 50 grand is yours. You got it. I instantly canceled the bike rental and slid into the driver's seat of her nearby Mercedes. In the rearview mirror, I saw Kevin Chow's face contorted into a mask of pure, unadulterated rage. I drove Chloe to her place. Our families had been visiting each other for years, so I knew the way by heart. I parked the car, but didn't make a move to get out. She looked at me, puzzled. We're here. Are you going to get out? Or are you waiting for an invitation to come up for a drink? You wish, I shot back. Where's the money? You promised me 50 grand. With that cash, I wouldn't have to go back to that hotel. I wasn't leaving without it. Is my word worth so little? You don't trust me? Not for a second. Chloe laughed, a sound of pure exasperation. And what, exactly, have I ever lied to you about? I was stumped. I was just trying to get paid. I hadn't really thought it through. You, on the other hand, have lied to me plenty of times, she continued, pressing her advantage. I blinked. When have I ever dared to lie to you? I'd be lucky to survive a week without you tormenting me. Is that so? Then how come you told me you were going to marry me when we were kids, and now you're backing out? The car went silent. A jolt went through me. A single thought echoed in my mind. Was I really that bold as a kid? After a moment, I managed a nervous laugh. That was just kid stuff. Who even remembers things from that long ago? I glanced over and saw Chloe biting her lip, a shimmer of moisture in her eyes. Whoa, hey, don't do that, I said, panicking. Don't make it look like I'm the bad guy here. You can keep the 50 grand. Okay, just don't cry. I admit it. I caved. Chloe suddenly burst out laughing. Just kidding. And you're the one who said you didn't want the money, so you can't blame me. Damn it. I've been played again. I should have known she was messing with me. 4. Not only did I not get the 50 grand, I was out $30 for the Uber back home. Making a living was tough. After finishing my last shift at the hotel, Sal, the contractor, pulled me aside with a conspiratorial grin. I've got another gig for you. 2 grand for one night. You in? 2 grand night. That was way better than bussing tables. My curiosity was piqued. Doing what? I'm a law-abiding citizen, Sal. No funny business. Sal spat on the ground. Get over yourself. It's nothing like that. A buddy of mine runs an upscale karaoke lounge, and he's looking for some good-looking hosts. You've got the face for it, kid. You'd kill it. Sounded easy enough. Serving drinks, just like at the hotel. What'd go wrong? That night, I started to regret my decision. When they handed me the uniform, I did a double take. It was just a pair of very, very tight briefs. When I emerged from the changing room, the owner, a slick guy with a gold chain, looked me over, saw my 8-pack abs and reasonably handsome face, and clapped me on the shoulder. You're gonna do great, kid. What the hell kind of job was this? But for 2 grand, I do it. It's not like I had anything to lose. My job was still just serving drinks. I was just doing it in less clothing. The owner said my assigned private room was all women, and they wouldn't mind. What did I have to be scared of? Walking into the dimly lit room, I felt a distinct sense of being a lamb walking into a wolf den. A group of women were singing, but they all stopped and their eyes lit up when I entered. A few of them came over immediately, striking up conversations, some getting a little too hands-on for comfort. Even for a guy, it was intensely awkward. Just then, a cool, sharp voice cut through the noise from the side of the room. Come over here. I followed the sound and saw Chloe's stone-cold expression. Her brow was furrowed, and she looked genuinely angry. One of her friends giggled. Chloe, you never like anyone. Don't tell me you've got your eye on this one. She grinned mischievously. Want to have a word with the owner? Maybe you can take him home with you tonight. The whole room erupted in laughter. Damn it. The owner definitely didn't mention that was part of the services. Under Chloe's murderous glare, I walked over and sat down beside her. This whole situation was getting weirder by the second. The music was blasting. She leaned in close, her lips brushing my ear. What are you doing here now? Do you have some kind of weird fetish for this stuff? It's because you didn't give me the 50 grand. I wanted to scream. Instead, I just smirked. Does it matter to you? Her hand, I hadn't even noticed it, was suddenly on my thigh, her fingers tracing slow circles on my skin. Okay, what was that? Was she trying to take advantage of me now? I gently removed her hand. Please, have some self-respect. Technically, you're still my aunt. Her eyes were hazy. And what did she mean? And she looked at my face and smiled faintly. I'll give you one more chance. If you kiss me, right now, I'll transfer you the 50 grand on the spot. She looked at me, her eyes full of a strange expectation, as if she was actually waiting for my answer. I sighed. You don't have to keep messing with me like this. She tilted her head, as if considering it. And what if I want to? It doesn't matter. I stood up. You all have fun. I'm out of here. Under the shocked gazes of everyone in the room, I walked toward the door. I saw a flash of panic in Chloe's eyes. She reached for my hand, but I pulled it away. If you think I'm that kind of person, I said, looking her straight in the eye, then you're mistaken. With that, I went to the changing room, put on my own clothes, and left. Some things weren't worth 2 grand. As I walked out of the lounge, I saw Chloe waiting by the entrance. She rushed over. Ethan, she called out. It's not what you think. I don't think you're that kind of person. I held up a hand, cutting her off. How you think of me doesn't matter. Her voice caught in her throat. She tried again. Today was my friend's birthday. That's the only reason I was there. I would never go to a place like that on my own. She was rambling, desperately trying to explain herself. Chloe, you don't have to tell me any of this. It's your life. I have no say in it. You know what? I'm done. I'll go back to my dad's company tomorrow. I gave her a small wave and disappeared into the night. 5. In the end, even rebels have to eat. Sal was genuinely disappointed when I told him I was quitting the gig life. A guy with your looks? You could land a rich sugar mama. Easy. I gave him a disdainful look. Do I look like a guy who needs a sugar mama? He clearly thought I was bluffing. He pointed to a blue Porsche Panamera parked across the street. Yeah. Well, go buy yourself one of those first. They're not even that expensive. Base model is just over 100K. I just smiled, and in front of his shocked eyes, I walked over, unlocked the car, and slid into the driver's seat. How did you know this was my car? You're renting it, right? Just to show off in front of me, right? I just kept smiling without saying a word. He let out a heart-wrenching cry. You son of a bitch, you were playing poor this whole time. That's worse than you just punching me in the face. My dad had a branch office in Indiana, so it was the perfect excuse to get out of town. Chloe was in VP at the main office in Chicago, so this way I wouldn't have to see her. For some reason, I was starting to feel afraid of seeing her. The project in Indiana was going smoothly. The office manager, Brenda, mentioned that some executives from corporate were coming in for a review and asked if I wanted to join them for dinner. I declined. I'd been swamped, and now that things were finally under control, all I wanted was a good night's sleep. Around 10 that night, Brenda called me. Mr. Vance, I'm so sorry to bother you this late, but we have a situation here. I frowned. What's wrong? It's Ms. Lynch. She's had too much to drink, and she's refusing to leave the restaurant. Which Ms. Lynch? Chloe Lynch. I hadn't known she was the one visiting from corporate. Hearing her name made me freeze for a second. I'm on my way. When I got to the private room, it was just Brenda and Chloe, who was slumped over the table. Mr. Vance. Brenda looked immensely relieved to see me. If this kept up, she'd be here all night. The bill is settled. Is it okay if I head out? I nodded and walked over to Chloe. Ms. Lynch. Chloe, wake up. I shook her a few times, but got no response. With a sigh, I scooped her up into my arms. She was surprisingly light. Her arms instinctively wrapped around my neck, and she buried her face in my chest. I got her back to her hotel room and tried to set her down on the bed, but she wouldn't let go. Ms. Lynch. Chloe, wake up. She stirred slightly. She seemed to have been crying. Her eyes were red-rimmed. She was mumbling something. I couldn't hear, so I leaned my ear closer to her lips. I'm so scared, she whispered. I'm so scared of losing you. She was probably completely wasted, thinking of God knows who. I just played along. Yeah, I know. Her eyes were hazy as she looked at me, her grip on my neck tightening. Will you marry me? Looking at her face, so close to mine, I was suddenly thrown back to our childhood. She'd asked me the same thing back then, if I'd marry her when we grew up. Of course I will. I patted her on the back. In that moment, I finally understood why I was so afraid of seeing her. It was because I was in love with her. Her hot and cold behavior, her teasing. It terrified me, so I'd been running away. I sighed, taking advantage of her drunken state to confess my own feelings out loud. But I knew the truth. A proud, brilliant woman like her would never see me as anything more than the annoying kid from her past. Hearing my answer, she closed her eyes and a small, peaceful smile graced her lips. Her arms finally loosened their grip. I tucked her in and quietly left the room. The next day, my mom called. She sounded ecstatic. Ethan, honey, you remember Chloe, right? Of course I did. I just carried her to bed the night before. What about her? She's dating someone. She's invited our whole family to dinner this weekend. She said she wants to make an official announcement. Dating someone? And she wanted to announce it. Seemed a little dramatic. Why does she need us there for an announcement? I'm really busy with this project, Mom. I don't think I can make it back. Honestly, the thought of being there was repulsive. We've been family friends for decades, my mom said, her tone leaving no room for argument. If they invite us, we go. I went to pick Chloe up from her hotel the next morning. Now that I knew who was visiting, it would have been rude not to escort her. She was quiet the whole time. It felt weird. We were sitting less than 3 feet apart, and she sent me a text. Me? What's up with you? Why are you texting me? I'm right here. She just grunted in response, but didn't reply. I could tell she was in a good mood, though. I remembered what my mom said about her new relationship. Was this what women in love were like? Completely bizarre. Work was crazy, so I only had time to take her on a quick tour of the area. Later, I texted my mom and told her I really couldn't make it back for the weekend. First, I was legitimately swamped. Second, the idea of watching the woman I loved announce her relationship with someone else. You'd have to be a masochist to sign up for that. That night, my mom called. She sighed. I don't know what's going on with Chloe. I think they might have broken up. She was fine, but as soon as I told her you weren't coming home, She got upset and wouldn't even eat. Kids these days, she grumbled. I just don't get it. The project was in full swing, and I didn't have much time to dwell on it. When I dropped Chloe off at the airport, I could see she was still down. I wanted to say something comforting, but the words died in my throat. I couldn't even sort out my own feelings. Who was I to give advice? Just before she left, she looked at me. Why do people make promises they don't keep? I opened my mouth, but nothing came out. I had no idea. I got back to my apartment close to 10 at night. As I was about to unlock my door, I saw a figure slumped against the wall in the hallway. I got closer and saw it was Chloe. Wasn't she supposed to be back in Chicago? I knelt and gently shook her. She was exhausted, fast asleep. She opened her groggy eyes, and her arms instinctively wrapped around my neck. She mumbled a few words, then seemed to realize what she was doing and quickly let go. Sorry. It's fine, I said. I thought you went home. She pouted. There was a massive storm, and all flights were canceled. The next available one wasn't for 3 days. So why are you here? You couldn't find a hotel near the airport. I lost my wallet and my phone. All I had was a few bucks in my pocket. I had to take 3 different buses to get here. I looked down at her feet. She had taken off her high heels, and her ankles were red and swollen from walking. I tried to help her up. She struggled for a second, then looked at me, her expression on the verge of tears. I can't feel my legs. Am I going to be paralyzed? I roll my eyes. Don't be dramatic. Your circulation is just cut off from sitting for so long. I turn around. Get on my back. I'll carry you inside. Chloe didn't argue. She wrapped her arms around my neck, and I lifted her up. Her head rested on my shoulder, and I could feel her warm breath on my skin. You're a good person, she whispered in my ear. What? I'm not saying it again. If you didn't hear it, too bad. I carried her inside and set her down on the couch, then knelt to massage her feet. For the record, I said quickly, I'm not trying to take advantage of you. Your feet are just swollen. She didn't say anything, just watched me quietly. Ethan, she asked suddenly, do you have a girlfriend? No. Why? She reached out and gently touched my face, her expression tinged with sadness. If you ever get a girlfriend, I'm going to have to warn her. Warn her about what? That once a girl gets involved with you, she'll never want to leave. What kind of thing was that to say? Was I that terrible? She couldn't just write off all men because her own relationship went sour. I just laughed, assuming she was just rambling nonsense out of heartbreak. She gave a self-deprecating smile. And someone like me, I probably can't even get a ticket for the ride. I smiled back, thinking to myself, you've been on board this whole time. Once a thought takes root, it starts to grow wild. She was single now. Did that mean I had a chance? I asked myself that over and over. But I was terrified. What if I confessed and she said no? Would we even be able to be friends? Our families were so close. What would our parents think? After wrestling with it for days, I decided to go for it. I rented out an entire movie theater and asked her to a movie. Midway through, when the mood was right, I'd make my move. Chloe, via text, what movie is this? Sounds kind of boring. Me, you'll see when you get there. I was so nervous about what I was about to do that I couldn't even face her in person. So I texted her from the other room in the apartment. I had already bought her a new phone. Chloe, are you nuts? I'm in the next room. Why are you texting me? Me? I have to run an errand. Don't forget, okay? Chloe, I know. I'll be there. Reading our texts, I felt a strange sense of déjà vu. I had the theater booked from 5 p.m. onwards. Everything was set up perfectly. All I needed was for Chloe to arrive. But the movie started, and she never showed. I called her phone, but it went straight to voicemail. I waited in that empty theater until after midnight. She never came. Mr. Vance, the theater manager said gently, it's getting pretty late. Are you going to keep waiting? I shook my head and left. When I got home, the apartment was empty. Chloe was gone. I let out a hollow laugh. She left in that much of a hurry, without even a goodbye. The next afternoon, a call came in from Chloe. I looked at the screen, then set my phone down. I didn't answer. I didn't know how to feel. Angry. Hurt. I didn't even have the right. It was a one-sided crush. Was I supposed to blame her for not returning my feelings? Better not have talked to her at all. But she kept calling. Again and again. Finally, I just turned my phone off. When I turned it back on hours later, I had over 30 missed calls and a flood of texts from her. The last one read, Ethan, I'm begging you. Please just answer my call. Then my mom called. She sighed heavily. Your Uncle Robert was in a car accident. Which Uncle Robert? Chloe's dad. He was hit by a car the night before last. My mind went blank. You need to come home this weekend, she said. We'll go see him together. He just got out of surgery yesterday and hasn't woken up yet. Which hospital? I'm coming back now. It all clicked into place. That's why Chloe had left in such a hurry. When she was calling me, she must have been feeling so lost and alone. And I didn't answer. I rushed to the hospital. Her dad, Robert, was awake. He was okay, mostly just a broken leg. At his age, close to 70, recovery would take time. I made some small talk, but I didn't see Chloe anywhere. Chloe went home to get some rest. Her older sister, Amanda, told me. She's been here for the past 2 days straight. She pulled me aside and lowered her voice. Ethan, I'm not trying to lecture you, but you two need to work things out. It's normal for couples to fight, but giving her the silent treatment is not okay. Do you have any idea how much you hurt her by not answering her calls? I opened my mouth, but I didn't know how to explain. My sister is almost 20 years younger than me. Amanda continued. So, I don't always get you young people, but I can see how much she cares about you. Don't break her heart. I was so happy when she told me you two were together. I haven't even told your mom yet. I wanted to see the look on her face when she found out. I couldn't process what she was saying. We were together. When did that happen? Amanda, I asked, who told you we were together? Chloe did, of course. She called me and said she asked you if you would marry her, and you said yes. Weren't you all supposed to have dinner this weekend to announce it? I was stunned. I thought it was all just drunken rambling. All those things she'd said, they were meant for me, and I had been completely oblivious. I drove to Chloe's building and called her, but she didn't pick up. I rang her doorbell. After a moment, the door opened. When she saw it was me, she immediately tried to slam the door shut, but I caught it with my hand. Wait, don't close it. Let me explain. She turned her head away. What is there to explain? I called you a dozen times, and you wouldn't answer. If you don't want to talk to me, just say so. We could draw a line and be done with it. Her voice was thick with hurt. As she spoke, 2 tears traced paths down her cheeks. I stepped forward and pulled her into a hug. Her body went rigid. She tried to push me away, but after a few attempts, she gave up. Chloe, you have to know I love you. I whispered, my voice urgent. I've loved you since we were kids. That day at the movies. I rented the theater to tell you how I feel. When you didn't show up, I thought you'd left without a word. I thought you were rejecting me. I didn't know how to face you, so I didn't answer the phone. I'm so sorry. So sorry. Chloe, who had been resisting, slowly relaxed her arms and began to cry softly into my shoulder. Can you forgive me? I asked, pulling back to look at her. She wiped her tears, her lip trembling. No. How do I know you're not just trying to trick me again? I scratched my head at a loss. Starting tomorrow, she said, her voice still shaky. You will pick me up for work every single morning. Okay. She tilted her head, studying my face intently. What? Is there something on my face? She let out a soft huff. I need to memorize the face of a liar. Hey, what did I do now? You're the one who forgot you promised to marry me as a kid. You made me wait all these years, you big idiot. I'm not a mind reader. How was I supposed to know what you were thinking? Besides, you could have just told me. She huffed again. And have a girl be the one to confess. Don't I get to have some dignity? I gently pushed her back until she was leaning against the wall. What are you doing? She stammered, her voice filled with a delicious panic. I leaned down and kissed her. At first, she was hesitant, but soon she was kissing me back with a hunger that matched my own. We held each other tightly, lost in a moment. After a long time, we finally broke apart, both of us breathless. This time, I whispered in her ear, it's on the house. No, 50 grand. She shot me a playful glare, then wrapped her arms around my neck again. You can't ever lie to me again. Ever. I was waiting for Chloe outside the office building when I ran into my old pal, Kevin Chow. Seeing me standing there, he put on his usual exaggerated expression. Well, if it isn't Ethan. No tables to bust today. What are you doing here? Trying to get your old job back. Sorry, buddy. No vacancies. But hey, I hear the cleaning crew is hiring. It's right up your alley. I didn't even bother. People like him only feel big by making others feel small. It all came from a place of deep insecurity. I just smiled. I'm waiting for my wife. That's right. Chloe and I had already gone to the courthouse and gotten married. We hadn't told our families yet. My calm response took the wind out of Kevin's sails. He tried to recover with more snark. Wow, A server managed to find a wife. What does she do here? Is she on the cleaning crew too? I gave him a polite smile and ignored him. He had no idea his entire department was about to be downsized, and he was at the top of the layoff list. A while ago, I might have pulled some strings for an old classmate. But now, he could fend for himself. He kept babbling, his voice a grating buzz. Just then, Chloe walked out of the building. I waved at her. Kevin's jaw dropped as he watched Chloe walk over, take my arm, and get into the Porsche with me. We have that family dinner this weekend, Chloe said from the passenger seat. I nodded. So what's my official status? Chloe blinked. Just as a family friend, I guess. I don't want to tell everyone yet. You know my sister. She'll drive me crazy with a million questions. I let out a dramatic sigh. So you're still denying me my rightful place. I glanced over at Chloe. Her face was bright red. Well, she mumbled, if you really want to tell them, I guess that's okay. Whatever you want. At the dinner table, our family chatted away. The dinner was meant to celebrate her dad's recovery. My mother, sitting next to Chloe, leaned in. So Chloe, honey, you were going to introduce us to a new boyfriend. What happened with that? Before Chloe could answer, her sister Amanda, sitting across from them, erupted into a violent coughing fit. Amanda, are you okay? What's with the sudden coughing? Amanda knew part of the story, that we were fighting, but not that we were already married. She was trying to change the subject before things got awkward. My mom, completely oblivious, pressed on. When are you going to bring him over so we can all meet him? We need to vet him for you. Amanda started coughing even harder. My mom was getting annoyed. Amanda, what is wrong with you today? Every time I talk to Chloe, you start coughing. Amanda was dying inside. Just wait until she says your son's name. She was probably thinking, then it'll be your turn to choke. Chloe just smiled, completely at ease. Oh, we're doing great. He actually asked me yesterday when he could meet my parents. Oh, really? Where's he from? What does he do for a living? My mom launched into her standard background check. He's from Chicago. He's actually a manager at one of Uncle's branch companies. My mom's brow furrowed, thinking, he works for us. Then I should know him. What's his name? I'll have your uncle run a background check. His name is Ethan Vance. Ethan Vance? My mom repeated. What a coincidence. That's the same name as our son. She trailed off, her words hanging in the air. Her eyes darted from me, furiously shoveling food into my mouth, to Amanda, who was now chugging a glass of water. Then my mother started coughing. Violently. Our wedding was perfect. Our families already knew each other inside and out. So setting the date was the easiest part. After the reception, I carried Chloe out to the balcony. The cool night breeze felt wonderful. You can't bully me anymore, she whispered, threatening me. If you do, I'll tell your mom. Me? Bully you? I'd be lucky if you didn't bully me. She touched her own cheek. Am I really that scary? I tightened my grip, lacing my fingers through hers. Of course not, I said, pulling her close. You're the best wife a guy could ever ask for. End.